Mr. Gareth, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm ready for this. I've been excited about the centre mids for a while.
Yeah, double episode again after the centre back. So the next two episodes we'll have to pick two each.
To be fair, this is like going from hit to hit because the next one will be the strikers and there's lots of names swirling around my head. But let's stick with centre mids. So of course we're trying to get our funniest 11 of the 90s. Just an excuse to throw back to some names that you haven't thrown back to for 20 years or something like that. So centre mids, do you want to go first and suggest somebody? Cast us back.
Okay, now just a wee reminder from the previous episode, I wrongly attributed Anders Limpar with a certain thing, and one of the names true. I'm going to bring up is that
finally
person,
we've got some resolution.
I'll just give a little bit of suspense and save him for my second pick. Now, I was really torn here for the first pick between the chances of anything crazy going on in their personal life and just sort of a very nomadic, strange career, and purely the name. I think for Wikipedia personal life I have to go for the first one though, and I'll bring the other one up in my long list. So my first pick is Emerson, the permed Middlesbrough Brazilian midfielder.
Part of the Holy Trinity. But Emerson is a bit more of a cult figure.
I always remember him when he first came to Middlesbrough. He had that incredible perm that was like wet look perm, and he seemed to have a very good start. I also remember he wore his shorts very high up.
Well, that's the current trend, ahead of his time.
Yeah, not particularly long shorts, but pulled right up.
So, you don't mean like rolled up like nowadays, you mean like high up the waist?
No, I mean like they're above his belly button high.
Wow. I need to have a look at some pictures of that. When I think of Emerson, I think of the FA Cup final between Middlesbrough and Chelsea. I don't know if there's like, if everybody's most memorable finals always at the same age. Like when I watch FA Cup finals now, they're just forgettable, but for some reason in my little mind that final's iconic, even though it's not particularly iconic.
I think they got to the two finals in the 1 year, but also got relegated on a sort of points technicality.
Crazy that they got relegated with those players in the team.
Exactly, yeah. And it was they would have survived, but they got deducted 3 points for not fulfilling a fixture.
Yeah.
They just had illness or something. I can't remember what it was, but it seemed a bit unfair.
There's a lot of Emersons that have played. I'm just looking, I have got the right one. I do notice that he doesn't have the hallowed personal life section, but he does have one called In the Pop Culture, which sounds like a category from a sort of radio quiz show. So let's click it and see where it takes us. Gareth, there's nothing interesting about Emerson. There's absolutely nothing interesting about him.
I can't. This has happened to me so often. I'm such a bad judge of 90s football character.
I mean, I like that this shows that you are just taking a punt on somebody by their hair and guessing, because you've done this quite a lot. You've looked at their hair and you've thought they've definitely got a good personal life section on Wikipedia.
Yeah. It's just to make up for their lack of personal life. Well, this is the lesson I need to learn.
The only thing I can tell you is that he received Portuguese citizenship after marrying his Portuguese wife. I can follow a link in Wikipedia to the term Portuguese wife. So, what teams did he play for? Can you name 4 of them?
Rangers and Middlesbrough.
Yeah.
Brazil.
It's not actually listed that he got any caps.
No, he might not have done, because to be honest, he wasn't like a top player, was he? And they would have had Dunga and guys like that at the time. Who are you going to pick, Rivaldo or Emerson?
You got 2 still to get.
Imagine he played in Portugal as well at some point. I think Rangers signed him from like a Greek team or something like that.
No, they signed him from Atletico Madrid, but he did play for AEK Athens later on in his career.
Who else? Let's guess Fluminense.
Flamengo, you were close.
He's actually had some pretty decent teams then. Like
in
Atletico
Football
Madrid
Manager terms, it was FLA, not FLU. And one more, give us a Portuguese guess.
Boa Vista.
Porto.
He's played for some good teams.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
underestimating
Tenerife,
him.
Deportivo La Coruña.
He actually let his football do the talking.
So yeah, I am going to take us in a different direction now. I'm going to go for a man who I see as a bit of a forerunner of the double-barreled surname. I'm going to go for Chris Bart Williams.
I'm so glad you picked him because he was the one that I dropped for Emerson.
He is a forerunner of the fashion it's in now. He paved the way for Alexander Arnold, really, but at that time I feel like it was a bit of a prototype version. I mean, what he's really done is mixed the first name with his surname, which isn't really what you're meant to do, you know. But it was early days, like they hadn't really got to grips with how it worked yet.
There was nobody prior to Chris Bart Williams with a double-barreled surname.
But they ironed it out and they worked out it should be two surnames and they fixed it, so that's good. He's also a bit of a championship manager legend as well, actually, isn't he? Him and maybe David Prutton or something.
Yeah, you could always pick up Chris Bart Williams for, like, say you went Rangers or Celtic or a sort of lower end Premier League team. You could always get him for like 1 million, there or thereabouts, and he was a pretty good option.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm more than happy to put him forward for a centre midfielder. I think he ticks a lot of boxes.
Yeah, and the fact it is the abbreviated version of Bartholomew, but it is just Bart in his name.
It's not even a first name, is it? It's like nickname, surname mashed together.
Maybe originally it's one of these like typing errors, or his name's just Chris Williams, but he gets called Bart as a nickname, and somebody missed out the inverted commas.
Put a dash in the middle instead of two inverted commas. Chris Bart Williams. I wish they'd do that. They should have a rule that all the Brazilian internationals need to put inverted commas around their name, like Emerson. Wait, is Emerson in Emerson's name? Now I kind of need to know. He is Emerson Moises Costa. He's only got 3 names.
Right. Are we doing Chris Bart Williams details?
I don't think I'm going to roll the roulette on him.
Oh, okay. Well, my next choice
You seem disappointed by that.
I'm a little bit disappointed. There's B-cap in there. There's got to be a B-cap for Bart Williams.
I'll look up a B-cap. I just think, I don't know, with the British ones, there's usually not as much happening. You know, they just become like a youth coach or something. He does have a B-cap! I'm so happy we looked that up. We need a big thing that goes up that says B-cap. He ended up at Apoel, which also Emerson ended up at. I wonder if they're at Apoel at the same time. Wouldn't that be bizarre? So Chris Bart Williams was at Apoel in 2004-2005. Emerson was 2007. And his last team was a Maltese club called Marsaxlock. Absolutely no personal life. Let's move on.
Okie doke. Right, now this is the one I've been pinning all my hopes on from the previous episode that I accused Anders Limpar, who turned out to be probably the most boring man in history.
Was he the one who owned a plastic box company?
Yeah. So, you know.
Okay, so who's the real flamboyant one?
Right, I hope and pray that it is Sasa Churchic.
I've got him on my list. I was actually going to ask you how you say his name. Sasa Churchic.
I think the commentators went for Churchic in the 90s.
So are we diving straight into personal life here?
Yeah, while you're looking that up, I just remember him from, I think he played for Aston Villa, but I feel like he might have played for Bolton as well.
He did. He came to England playing for Bolton just for 1 season, then moved to Villa for 2 seasons, and then had a season at Crystal Palace. But what Scottish team did he play for?
I had no idea he played in Scotland, but I'm going to guess it would be Livingston.
He finished his career with Motherwell in 2000.
They were spending an awful lot of money at that point, which put them into administration. So
that's true. So let's see. Nothing called personal life, but there is a section called career ending.
Oh.
Wait, no. Not just personal life. He has a whole section for post-football.
No, I thought it was going to be controversy.
Yeah. No, when it's post-football, you know, it's like roll up your sleeves, lift up your waistband, we're going in here. Oh, I see. So he was in Serbian Celebrity Big Brother. And he won it, details, winning €50,000, which led to a resurgence of popularity in Serbia. And he appeared in TV commercials and singing shows. And then the next year, more than 7 years after he stopped playing, I'm reading from the Wikipedia, of course, Srčić, who has an unbelievable amount of like little accents and stuff on top of the letters in his name, played the first of his 2 testimonial matches.
7 years after retiring?
It seems after he won Celebrity Big Brother, suddenly got 2 testimonial matches. So the first was billed as an official farewell to football, which was a Partizan 1994 team against FK Pioneer. Partizan 1994 won 2-0.
I was hoping that they would win.
There's no details on the second testimonial match. The next thing that happens in 2009, he's on another reality contest called Pharma, which was this franchise version of the Swedish series. Can you guess? Pharma.
Oh, I was thinking pharma as in like pharmaceuticals.
I know, you were thinking pharmaceutical. It's just the farm. It says he left the programme on his own initiative within weeks, which sounds like he walked out. Great initiative. He was approached by the UK to participate in the British Celebrity Big Brother in 2010. Do you think it would have gone down well in 2010?
You see, this is weird. I had no idea he had this level of profile.
In 2010, just to add some context, if he entered Celebrity Big Brother, it would have been 10 years since he finished his career playing for Motherwell. I'm looking for the controversy. Oh look, he was in another Serbian reality show called Pavrovi, which featured couples. The show was marked by drunken outbursts and insults directed to a wide variety of public figures in Serbia, culminating in an on-air physical altercation with Serbian rapper Gru. And as a result, Srčić was kicked off the show.
Funnily enough, after all of that, the thing that I was thinking of wasn't there.
Well, what were you thinking of?
Well, I was either led to believe or under the impression that he had given up football to become a porn star.
That would surely be mentioned here if it was true.
You would think so, eh?
There's a section that I missed called Career Ending. In an interview in Sky Sports News, Srčić, who had just turned 29 years of age, stated that he'd retired from football, known to enjoy his nightlife and his appreciation of the opposite sex, very specific. He remarked, "I would not sign for another club, not even if I was offered $50 million. However, it would be different if they were to instead offer me 15 different women from all around the world. I would tell the club chairman, in my best Serbian accent, please let me make these women happy. I will satisfy them like they have never been satisfied before." So there may be substance to this rumour.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad at least there was something in there that were some sort of resemblance to what I've had in my head for years.
Alright, and here's who I'm going to bring you. My second choice, Muzzy Izzet.
Yeah, he was on my long list for the name alone as well.
Yeah, I mean, we both agree that there's something cool about the letter Z, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of alphabetically, it's the cool one up the back of the bus, right?
Yeah.
4 out of 10 letters in his name is a Z. Think about it. Almost half of the letters in Muzzy Izzet's name is a Z. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, he puts Zinedine Zidane to shame.
To absolute shame. I mean, he is the Leicester Zidane, really.
Do you think, as a kid, do you remember that game you used to play at primary school where the person at the end would be in charge and they'd say like A, and anyone with an A in their name, if you had an A in your name, you took a step?
Yes.
They would always say Z just to kind of like put like a little tease, you know. Muzzy Izzet would have won the game in the first letter if they said Z.
It's true. I mean, Zinedine
Zidane would have been just a wee bit behind.
And Zvonimir Boban, whatever his name was, would have thought they were off to a good start. But then Muzzy Izzet, bam! He's over there.
He was halfway home.
I don't feel like I need to add much else to Muzzy Izzet. I'll give him a quick look up.
He had a late kind of international career with Turkey, because I think, was he not kind of holding off for an England call-up? It never came.
2000, Turkey. A stalwart for Leicester during the late 90s. I'm putting him forward for almost half of his name being Zeds. Tell us who else is on your list. Let's keep going through it penalty shootout style. This is sudden death. Once we feel like we've run out of options, we'll decide who our centre midfielders are.
Cool. Well, I did have Chris Bart-Williams. He would have been my next pick. So for my next one, I'll go for Tamuri Kitsbaya.
Always remember Kitsbaya kicking the advertising hoardings playing for Newcastle after scoring.
Yeah, I think that's what he's best remembered for, but he'd come on for the last 10 minutes and he did score a lot of goals, so he was a bit like the Solskjaer.
Yeah, it's one of these situations
Newcastle.
that he's so good at coming off the bench, the manager keeps doing it. I remember when I was at school, I feel a little bit embarrassed about this, no idea why I did it. I wasn't mad about anything, but you know how you just copy people. I remember kicking the brick wall around our playground after scoring a goal, just to emulate. to anybody who didn't know the Kitsbaya thing, it must have looked well weird. Just this little kid with her little black shoes just kicking the red brick wall. It was really sore. I remember it being really sore.
Did you punch all your mates as well at the same time?
And then I shaved my head off. I just went full Kitsbaya on the situation. I can't believe that just came back to me. I'd completely put that out of my mind. Thanks for that. Yeah.
But,
was Kitsbaya definitely a centre mid? He didn't play up front, just behind the strikers.
I think he was one of those in-betweenies. He was never a number 9, but I think he was more like like a number 10. I did actually meet Tamuri Kitsbaya once because this is a weird thing. I'm not a Dundee fan, but I did once have a season ticket for Dundee because one of my best friends at school is a Dundee fan, and you could get it for like £1 a game. It was like 18 quid for a season ticket. I think it must have been just when he'd signed. We met him as he came out the ground, shook his hand, and then he kicked us.
And then he
went
kicked in the
mental
shin.
and started kicking it. Yeah.
Alright, good choice. Let's see who I've got to add. I've not got anything to add, but I liked Stefan Schwarz. I love a bit of alliteration in the game, but I don't have much to add to Stefan Schwarz.
Did Stefan Schwarz and John Jensen play in the midfield together for Arsenal? It would have been like a tongue twister if they passed the ball to each other.
I'll give you another one then. I've got Lars Bohinen.
Oh, brilliant. That's a good one.
He takes me back. Let's look up Lars Bohinen, because
another Norwegian.
They always get up to interesting things. Lars Bohinen's middle name is astonishing. I'm going to give you a clue. If Katy Perry was singing one of her most popular songs, In the Jungle, the Mighty Jungle.
Roar,
Yeah, his middle name is Roar. Lars.
That's amazing.
Roar. Hold on, I need to cross-check this, see if it's...
Yeah,
I mean,
that sounds like a Chris Bart-Williams incident all over again.
It's on at least 2 other websites. His name is Lars Roar Bohinen.
What a ridiculous thing that would be to do for a laugh, right? We're going to go on every website and change Lars Bohinen's middle name.
If anyone wants to go into Lars Bohinen's Wikipedia, it's the angriest photo I've ever seen. I should say it's not like an on-pitch photo. He's just sort of got a jacket and a shirt on. But the lighting is incredible. It looks like a shot of like a baddie in a film. He did get nearly 50 cats from Norway, so he's maybe too big for our team. But he was on the Norwegian versus Strictly Come Dancing. Seems like centre mids is a good place to play if you want a reality TV career afterwards. I've also got Samuel Della Bona, who was a bit of a wonder kid for Chelsea, but never really went anywhere. But it was an interesting case of like a young foreigner who seemed to come through the youth ranks. But I think there was a bit of a thing I vaguely remember where he moved at a young age, and it made there was a rule change after that to stop young Italians moving abroad because of him.
We need to look him up. I want to find out his career.
He played centre mid, so he's probably in a reality show in Italy. He played for Chelsea, but then he weirdly moved to AC Milan. But he only got 4 games for them. Then moved to Napoli, 30 games for them. Played on loan with a few teams, but didn't really get many games. Then moved to Mantova in Italy, played 8 games, and then retired. Yeah. I might as well just tell you, finish off. So I had Paul Trollope, for no real reason. I just think I just think he fits
Good
in
name.
well with the like if you asked your girlfriend who her favourite player was and she said Paul Trollope from 90s Derby midfield, that'd be pretty funny. So he fits in well with that angle. Have you got anyone else interesting on your list?
A couple more. I've got Barry Venison, who overnight turned from like Pat Sharp into a scientist. He had this like incredible blonde mullet, and he chopped it one day and then started wearing specs like on exactly the same day. It's like he went for a complete image change. I've also got Youssef Chippo.
Was he one of the Coventry players?
Yeah, one of the Moroccan Coventry players. Came at the same time as Mustafa Hadji.
Nice pronunciation of Chippo.
It was like one of those machines that chops up the wood into little wood chips. It would be a Chippo.
Can I borrow you a Chippo?
And I've got one more, which in terms of names is almost more English than Andy Sinton, which is Phil Stamp. He was a bit of like a sturdy little guy with a good left foot.
I mean, is that more... I was going to say more or less English than Paul Trollope, but Paul Trollope was Welsh, wasn't he?
I only vaguely remember the name, actually. I couldn't tell you what he looked like. Trollope and Stamp in the midfield.
I mean, they were sort of low down the list, but a midfield of Phil Stamp and Paul Trollope is kind of not bad, to be fair.
It's not bad. That could have been the midfield for a sort of lower half, first year of the Premiership team.
Yeah.
Like Swindon Town in that year they were there.
There was some great choices there. I'm a big passionate believer in Muzzy Izzet because almost half of his name is Zeds. But at the same time, Chris Bart-Williams was almost in your top two, and he was my first pick. He did trailblaze the double-barrel surname, albeit he did it wrong.
Just because of the amount of content we got out of it, I think Sasa has got to be a shout.
Sasa would be a laugh in the changing room. I quite like the idea of pairing Sasa Churchich up with Paul Trollope, though. I think they'd be like chalk and cheese.
It'd be like Sasa Churchill should have all the girls around him, like 15 women. Trollope would just be shaking his head.
I feel like I want those two in the team together.
Yeah,
just
I'm
a complete
happy with that.
mismatch. Is that what the managers refer to when they talk about balance in the side? I feel like
Trollope
for every
would do the work.
Churchich, you need a Trollope.
That's not a very nice thing to call those women. Yeah, that sounds good to me. I think we go for Trollope and Churchich. With Stamp and Bart-Williams on the bench.
Do we need to muster up an offer to get Churchich in our team? Because, I mean, we are technically the chairman.
I think we could convince him.
Perfect.
We'll promise him a testimonial after half a season.
Amazing.
And a place in Celebrity Big Brother.
After this, he'll definitely get on the UK one.
I need to pray that there's an image of Paul Trollope on Google Images now to put in the end of this video.
There are plenty of pictures of Paul Trollope. Stick him in, it's been a pleasure.
They're in there.
Bye.